Okay, so first of all, hi everyone. As Pablo said, my name is Lior. I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm design director at Wix. It's good to be the first talk after lunch. Everybody's eaten, everybody's a bit more relaxed. And on the other hand, like 90% of your body function is for digesting, so. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I wanna show you, this is the worldwide premiere of our studio's showreel.
Halftime shows are fine, but it all starts with a stunning website from Wix.com.
Told you it was worth waiting for. So a bit about our design team. As Pablo said, we are a bit more than 150 designers, and we are responsible for every visual aspect of Wix, from product design to marketing campaigns, from templates, obviously, and branding both online and offline. We pretty much do everything, and most importantly, we do everything in-house. Okay, so just try to imagine this huge group of people all sitting under the same roof. It's like a real-life human Pinterest board, okay? Each one comes from various backgrounds, has different expertise, different interests. I mean, every day we have like 5 people dressed the same coming to work, okay? And I don't mean like a black t-shirt and a jeans, okay? Then we make them go on the wall of shame and take photographs. So, just by staying in this room, you know, talking to each other, exchanging ideas, we are able to stay as up-to-date as possible in design and constantly push design forward. We also have 140 million users, or 140 million people using our product. And as designers, we have a bigger responsibility to direct all this talent that we have in offering those people the best product possible. Okay, it's a different responsibility than, let's say, a back-end developer. Now, our users, they are extremely diverse, okay? Each one has a business or a passion for which they want to create a website. But as talented as they may be in their own fields, unlike yourselves, they don't necessarily have the design skills to create their own brand. Best gift on the internet. So, we have to anticipate their needs, all right? Whether they're signing up now or in 3 months or in 6 months' time, we need to anticipate their needs and offer them what is, in our opinion, the best design suggestions and the most up-to-date design. And that means that we need to stay ahead of design trends. So how do we do it? Well, before I tell you how we do it, I'm not going to give that up that easily. I want to try something with you guys. You ready? So, before you, there are 2 colors. Okay, now, show of hands. Who here thinks color number 1 is the color for the next 2 years? Show of hands. All right. Okay, who thinks it's color number 2? Wow, okay. So, if you didn't notice, you're sitting in the front rows. Most of the room thinks color number 2 is the color for the next few years. Well, the good thing is, you are all right, okay? Everyone's right. Neo Mint, color number 1. It's the official choice of trend forecasting agencies for the color of 2020, okay? It's also the color of the tote bags most of us got. And color number 2, AKA sunset yellow, is just a color that we're starting to see everywhere. It just didn't get an official title, okay? And not only that, if you ask another trend forecasting agency for their opinion, which we did, they will say it's not color number 1 or color number 2. They will say it's color and a lot from it. So how do you stay ahead of a trend? Well, a wiser man than me once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Okay, there's no right or wrong. Okay? It's very helpful to subscribe to trend forecasting agencies, especially for a company the size of ours. It often saves time, and in some cases, that's exactly what we do. But when you have such a big group of talented people in a room, okay, and you combine it with a huge user base who rely on our designs, it makes much more sense to harness all this knowledge and data and design intuition towards influencing the future of web design ourselves. Okay? Now, influencing the future of web designs is a pretty pretentious sentence, but I will tell you why I stand behind it. When you're a one designer and you're designing a website for a client, that's one website. But when one of our designers is designing one template, which is basically a real live website for all that matters, this template can be turned into thousands of websites after. So they do get a chance to influence the future of web design, and that's quite the responsibility for a designer to handle. So what exactly do we do? Okay? We look into varied sources of inspiration, and we draw different conclusions from them that are more relevant to web design. Okay? We call this method trend thinking. Now, I'm going to share with you a few sources of inspiration that we are looking into these days. But to better understand this method, I want to start with 2 examples from last year. Okay, so in 2017, at the Women's March, we first noticed the pink hats. And afterwards, we then saw these hats on the runway as sort of like a symbol of feminine empowerment. And not long after, we witnessed the rise of the Me Too movement. And the dominating color for the Me Too were red and black. And this feminine theme carried on to photography, with groups of diverse women coming together, showing a powerful front. And in ads, we started seeing the female body without retouches, showing imperfections. So there was a clear sign of a trend celebrating womanhood. And it's only becoming bigger and bigger, and this is only the beginning, okay? Just last week, there was a record number of women entering Congress. I have a 4-year-old daughter. She's the COO of a kindergarten. Everybody's there are like 6-year-old boys, and she's managing everyone. So, by following sources like news and fashion and music, we drew a connection and translated the essence of these elements and the general aesthetics we saw into our designs. Another example from 2017 is this guy. Now, like him or not, don't answer, I know the answer. You can't deny his influence on everything that has happened, okay? So at the beginning of his presidency, during like the inauguration, the media coverage was dominated with red, white, and blue, okay? They wanted to give this person a more presidential feel. Maybe it will help. It didn't. So immediately they changed into showing him as sort of a cartoon. And on the other side of the country, the attention in the news, it focused on the California wildfires, which kept ablaze for weeks. So what we notice is that the color that dominated the news cycle the most was orange. And the fashion world is usually the first to react, and they did react immediately. And based on all that, we started incorporating that color in our designs. So these were two examples of the process that we try to cultivate in our studio. Look at different sources of inspiration, which can be literally anything you want. Ask the questions and see how to incorporate it into web design. And now I want to share with you guys 3 sources of inspiration we've been looking into these past days. So the first one is technology. Okay, so design and technology, they go hand in hand, okay? They draw from each other, they inspire one another, they challenge one another. We can talk about this all months. I want to talk about 2 innovations in that area. The first one is Cinema 4D. Okay, so Cinema 4D made 3D design pretty accessible for most designers. I mean, you don't have to have like special equipment at the house, just like a pretty decent laptop. And that influenced design in a few ways. One of those is what we call new matter. Okay, now because it's easier to simulate and render textures, so instead of just rendering like marble or fabric or wood, we can experiment with the combinations of these materials and behaviors. So we can create this new matter that does not exist in real life, okay? Only in digital world. So we can see it in these fantastic visuals created by super talented people. I don't know, maybe some of them are sitting in the audience right now. And we gave it our own spin on the Playground website. And watch this all day. This is so calming. And we're thinking how to take this new matter further into web design. How would it look on 2D? How would it look as a background? Okay, these are the questions that we're trying to raise and we're trying to answer. So another result of working with Cinema 4D created this exposed mechanics style. Okay, so being designers, you know, you often like to share the process. And sometimes that process will eventually become like the final result. Okay, so in Cinema 4D, one of the stages of the work process is the 3D clay model. And we notice a growing use of that aesthetics. Okay, you all know, you saw it probably on Instagram, people posting stuff of their process, wanting to hear their opinion, and then all of a sudden people reacting and saying, this is perfect, don't touch it, don't change it. So we started seeing it afterwards in advertisements, obviously, and in German hip-hop videos, and also in websites. So these are all websites from the Awwwards website collection. And as you can see, they all have this common thread. Okay, and just imagine what this will be in a few months. Okay, will it be how we design buttons? Will it be a behavior of a hover effect? You hover on an image, it exposes the inner mechanics? Maybe. Second technology factor I want to talk about is VR. We already heard from a few of the previous speakers. We believe VR's true potential is still yet to come, okay? But even now, it's already changing the way we design, okay? The VR look is getting out of the 3D helmets and onto web, especially by creating features that looks like a simulated environment. Okay, so last year, it was with this glitch effect, made everything look super digitized. And recently, it's about new ways of showing layouts. So it's a new style of navigation that we're getting used to, okay? Previously, it was websites were like endless scrolling, okay? And now, you scroll down, you have no idea what's going to happen, okay? And with the evolution of a designer who is also a developer and knows front end and knows how to code, we believe we'll see more and more of these in the future. Because web design is imitating VR, okay? But in a flat environment. And that's an amazing example of interpretation from one world to another. Now, the second source of inspiration I want to talk about is Generation Z. Any Generation Zs in the audience? No? Nobody wants to be named the Generation Z. So millennials had a big influence on the way we design. And according to reports, by 2020, 40% of all online consumers will be Generation Z. So it's safe to say Generation Z will have a big impact on design also. And the only question is, how exactly? One direction we are looking into is called the religious theme, okay? Generation Z is said to be the first post-religion generation, okay? More than a third of them, they believe it is impossible to prove if God is real, okay? Now, I'm not here to say anything about God, okay? I come from Israel. We have been discussing this subject literally for thousands of years, okay? I know better. I just want to talk about this implication on design. Now, one of these implications is the growing use of religious motifs as fashion or decoration. Why is that? Well, it's because for Generation Z, these images and those symbols, they're not charged with religious connotation. They're not going to be offended when they'll see the Pope's hat on Rihanna. So we saw it in fashion and music, and we're starting to see it in website with type and fonts that inspires from the church and the Bible. So the third source of inspiration we are looking into is the environment, and more specifically, sustainability. So the most dominant design element we noticed is plastic. It started with fashion, of course, again, with the plastic bag trend, which, by the way, my mom started 40 years ago. Woman has been using a plastic bag as her purse for years. And we can see many interpretations of that with the vacuum bag. And we're looking how this texture will be in web design. Now, going over all these images of plastic made us think of the pollution. And we sent the main victims of this crisis are sea animals. All right? So then we started asking questions. And that made us think that maybe the next, flamingo or llama or unicorn, all the trendy animals of the last few years would be a sea creature, okay? And that started a very passionate debate at our studio, okay? One team is going for the octopus. They're saying the octopus is going to be the next trendy animal, okay? Now, my opinion, I have a more relaxed approach. My opinion and my favorite at the moment is the narwhal, okay? And I'm using this stage to campaign for it. Hashtag Narwhal 2019. Okay? Now, look at this guy, okay? It's like the love child of a whale and a unicorn, but the whale's family, they don't accept it because of the unicorn's, personality, and the unicorn doesn't get to see the child. I mean, look at what designers are doing. This is something you'd want on a t-shirt, okay? Now, I think this might be the next big thing. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not. It doesn't matter, okay? Because we're starting a conversation, and we are asking questions. And that's how you try to influence design, okay? Maybe next year, the narwhal will be everywhere, okay? Maybe I'll be the only one wearing a narwhal t-shirt, okay? Which is also fine by me, okay? And I hope to see you all here next year to find out if I was right. And before we go, I'm gonna take a selfie with everyone because I have a new phone. And I'm gonna post it, #Narwhal2019, all right? Everyone say Narwhal2019. All right, thank you guys.